This is the all-new 6th generation Toyota 4Runner, and here's everything you need to know about it. Today's a big day. They're unveiling the all-new 6th generation platform. I've got my Team 4Runner shirt on. The back side of this thing, it shows you all the front faces of all the previous generation 4Runners, and they're gonna have to revise this shirt because we've got the 6th generation coming, and it's all for us to see right now. We've got lots of fresh B-roll, lots of pictures of the limited TRD Pro and also the all-new Trail Hunter, so more on that in this video. Now, first and foremost, the 4Runner looks like the new Toyota Tacoma, and that's basically the whole premise of the 4Runner to begin with. They took the pickup truck, they had a modified Hilux, and they put a cab on it. So it makes sense that this new 4Runner looks like the Toyota Tacoma that has been made into an SUV. And I think the new 4Runner looks really cool. It maintains that boxy and rugged nature that we all liked about the 5th gen 4Runner. There's loads of ground clearance at 9.2 inches. It's desert racing inspired and rugged looking, just like the new Toyota Tacoma. And it should be because it's based off of the same platform as the new Toyota Tundra, Toyota Sequoia, the Land Cruiser, the GX, and the new Tacoma. It's a body on steel ladder frame type of construction. The wheelbase is even the same as the new Land Cruiser and the new GX. And great news, that powered rear window that we all love in the current, now the previous generation 4Runners, is still there. We were kind of afraid that that was going to go away because of how the new Land Cruiser and how the new GX looks with that flip-up window. But I think Toyota stuck with their fans with this one and kept that roll-down powered window. That's a good move on their part. The third row seating is optional, and check out this window by the third row. It looks like they took inspiration from the early generation 4Runners and applied it here. So that's a real nice retro styling and pretty good nod to the 4Runner's roots. And you still have the same drivetrain options. You have the rear-wheel drive version, part-time 4-wheel drive, and also full-time 4-wheel drive. For the rear-wheel drive version, you'll have an automatic limited slip diff, and for the 4-wheel drive versions, you'll get the electronically controlled 2-speed transfer case. So no more manual levers to get yourself into 4 high and 4 low. This is all electronically controlled. For the off-roading grades, you're gonna get a locking rear diff. That's standard, that's awesome. And for the full-time 4-wheel drive version, there's going to be a center locking diff, and that's for the higher end grades, and we'll talk more about that at the end. The big change here is the engine. So there's only 4-cylinder turbos, just like the Toyota Tacoma. You have the 2.4 liter 4-cylinder called the I-Force. That makes 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. And then there's the I-Force Max. That is a Turbo 4 with a small 1.87 kilowatt hour battery and electric motor. So 326 net horsepower and 465 pound-feet of torque. That's same figures as the Toyota Land Cruiser because the I-Force Max is the only available engine for the Land Cruiser. So basically, some of the 4Runners can almost be identical to the Land Cruiser in the powertrain and the drivetrain perspective. Let me know if you want to see a video of me comparing between the two, because just looking at these pictures and these specs, I think I know which way I'm leaning towards. The difference between the 4Runners and the Land Cruiser is that the 4Runner is now available with the non-hybrid, or just the I-Force version, just like the Tacoma. Regardless, the base I-Force engine is going to be more powerful than the outgoing 5th generation 4Runner, which is only available in the 4-liter V6, and that makes 270 horsepower and 278 pound-feet of torque. Will you miss that big V6? Let me know down in the comments. And also, say goodbye to that 5-speed automatic transmission, because I believe that's the last 5-speed automatic transmission available in the automotive market right now. And whether you love it or hate it, there's only an 8-speed automatic transmission for the new 4Runners. Now, there's no mileage figures just yet. We're just getting all of this information now, and mileage figures is later down the line, even probably after pricing. But it should be better than the last generation, just like how the Tacoma also improved mileage by going to the 2.4 liter turbo and an 8-speed automatic transmission. As for the interior, it looks like the interior of a Toyota Tacoma. You get the optional 14-inch touchscreen. There's lots of physical buttons and dials, and the transfer case controls are located in the same spot as the Toyota Tacoma, and it's all electronically actuated now. What's new here is that there's an available stabilizer bar disconnect system so that you have more articulation when you're going off-roading. And also when you leave it connected, it's going to be more stable when you're just driving around town. I'm curious if this is going to be something similar to the EKDSS system that's found in the new Lexus GX. In the GX 460, that was hydraulically actuated, whereas now it's electronic. So I'm curious if this is going to be the same system. As for the important angles, you get 32-degree approach angle and 24-degree departure. Not sure if this is for the limited or for the higher grades. This is probably the lower end grades, and the TRD Pros and Trail Hunters are going to be even more aggressive. But those are better numbers than the Toyota Land Cruiser, surprisingly. But anyone who's going to do some serious off-roading is probably going to go with a high clearance bumper anyway, or modify their front bumpers. And also, if you get the big screen and the right packages, you'll get the multi-terrain monitor, which I've tested out in the Tundras and the Sequoias, and it's pretty amazing how much that piece of technology can make your life a lot easier when you're off-roading. Some things you still need spotters for, but for some trails, it's amazing how much you can see just using several cameras built into the vehicle. You can really see the corners of the car, and you know where the wheels are so that you could properly place it when you're going on these trails. Now, as for the trims, you're going to have a large selection here, just like usual. There are 9 grades. It starts at the SR5, the TRD Sport, the TRD Sport Premium. Those are probably the 2-wheel drive options. And then there's the TRD Off-Road Premium, Limited, Platinum, TRD Pro, and then the all-new Trail Hunter. We only have pictures and videos of the Limited, the TRD Pro, and the new Trail Hunter. And that iForce Max powertrain, that's going to be standard on the Platinum, the TRD Pro, and the Trail Hunter, and also available for the TRD Off-Road and the Limited grades. So really just the higher end grades. And as you can see here, the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter, they look different. The wheel arches are blacked out. They seem to look a little bit wider than the standard grades as well. The TRD Pro has a hood that has a hood scoop on it, just like the Tacoma, although it's non-functional, unfortunately. It's probably the same case here in the 4Runner. And the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter looks like there's a lot more ground clearance there as well. And it looks like the track has gotten wider as well because of those special tires. And if you look closely, it says 265, 70, 18. And if you remember those tire specs, they're the same size as the GX Overtrail. And the Overtrail, compared to the other lower end grades, it also has more ground clearance and also a wider track. So probably the same type of growth that you could see here for the TRD Pro and the Trail Hunter versus the other grades. As for that Trail Hunter grade, it is going to be your overlanding spec. That's really the whole premise of having the Trail Hunter to begin with. So it's going to have some Toyota approved components from some vendors that you may recognize, like the Old Man Emu 2.5-inch Ford shocks with the piggyback reservoirs. And also with the 33-inch tires, this will give the 4Runner a 2-inch lift in the front and a 1.5-inch lift in the back. There's going to be the ARB roof rack for the Trail Hunter version, and also some rigid LED fog lamps. And on top of those things, you'll have some specific component upgrades unique to the Trail Hunter, like the snorkel. And also, if you look underneath, there's going to be some special upper control arms. That's the same sort of treatment that they've done for some of the TRD Pros. They had like that red anodized finish. This one has the Trail Hunter name on it. And there's also dedicated rock rails and some skid plates. So now you have 5 off-roading vehicles to choose from Toyota. 6 really, or 7 if you count all of the Lexus vehicles as well. So Toyota has been on a tear with these off-road vehicles. They started out with the new Tundra for the 2022 model year, and then they came out with the Sequoia, the SUV version, and then there's the new Tacoma, the new Land Cruiser, and finally this 4Runner. And like I said, if you include Lexus brand, they have the Lexus GX, which is basically the Land Cruiser with a more powerful twin-turbo V6, and then you also have the Lexus LX600. So if you're a fan of off-roading or overlanding, then the company that you would normally go to, they have a lot of different options to choose from now. This is an exciting day because we haven't seen a new 4Runner in about 15 years. And so yeah, it's about time. I think this is going to be an exciting period. It might be disappointing if you prefer some of the more naturally aspirated, more simple, perhaps maybe more bulletproof solutions of the previous 4Runners. You know, like in the beginning they had a V8 version, then they downsized, then they downsized even more now and adding some forced induction. So if you're not a fan of that, please let me know in the comments. But this is just the state of the industry right now. It's just everyone's downscaling and putting in more forced induction just so they can improve the mileage. But from an off-roading perspective, what do you think? Is it a bad idea to go into these forced induction route, smaller engines? Let me know in the comments. But otherwise, I'm super excited about this new 4Runner. I hope I get an invite to drive this thing. Who knows, I may even consider picking up one of these for myself. And between this 4Runner and the new GX, which I have driven the GX before, it is a phenomenal off-roader. It is out the box. From the dealership, it is able to do some really impressive things. And given that this new 4Runner is built off of the same bones, basically, I think we've got a bright future ahead. What do you think? I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider hitting that like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.